What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here, and before we start today's video, I just want to let you all know that we are giving away this Sportster 48. We're pulling a winner for it tomorrow. That is, if you're watching the video on the 11th. If you're watching the video on the 12th and it's before 9 p.m. Eastern, you still have a chance to grab a ticket for it. We're pulling a winner for the Sportster 48 live on the Shade Tree Surgeon channel at 9 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday, September 12th. 100% of the proceeds from this Evo Sportster go directly to benefit Forgotten Angels and Keira Adderley's House for Women. If you guys don't know about Forgotten Angels, they give the very first chance that a lot of foster kids have ever had after they age out of an abusive foster care situation in which they're made homeless, given a bag in which to put all their belongings, and just basically put out on the street like they were an animal. Dave and Cindy work tirelessly to help these young men and women, and so do all you guys out there. Somebody's winning this motorcycle. That link's down below. We're currently in the process of buying a house that is going to be Keira Adderley's House for Women. That is going to help young women who have aged out of the foster care system, and it's also going to help young teen mothers to teach them how to be a mom in the first place. It's going to break the cycle of abuse in the foster care system. This is one you can feel really good about. Doesn't hit any branches on the way down. Big thanks to my man who donated this motorcycle to Forgotten Angels so we could raffle it off to all you guys out there who want to make a difference in this world. Together, we can change the world. We are bad people doing good things, and maybe one of these days we'll get into the black on karma, but even if we don't, well, it's all about the trying, ain't it? Click that link down below. We're pulling that ticket tomorrow live. Now, let's get into the video. All right, team. There was a reason that Shayleesi was riding the orange 48, the Forgotten Angels giveaway bike, and that's because the Green Goblin is still on the lift. And that's because we're going to put a chain drive kit on it, but that pulley nut has proven to be very uncooperative, even when I use a little encouragement. So after giving it a day to soak in Joe the Mountain Jedi's special home brew, we're gonna give it another whirl. Well, boys, the breaker bar ain't doing it, and I don't know if it's my air ratchet or if it's the old California quiet, but let's try a little electricity and see if that gets the job done. It's moving slightly. Did I just break this? What the fuck is up with this thing? This is not going well. So I had a quick consult with Joe the Mountain Jedi in the Shade Tree Army Discord, also available on Joe the Mountain Jedi's Patreon. Shameless plug there. And he said sometimes you gotta amputate the toe to save the leg. He told me that he usually doesn't have them fight him this hard, but when he does, you gotta drill into the face of the nut to make weak points, and then basically you stress fracture it so you can get it off, sacrificing the nut. I'm really not seeing another option. The only other option he says is to gut the transmission and replace fifth gear entirely. I think I'll try drilling a hole in the nut first. Okay, let's try hammer this thing off. Gonna put some iPro on for this one. Usually I'm safety third, but the whole idea is that this explodes into shrapnel. We never usually hope for shrapnel. In this case, we do. Okay, oh, I got a crack down there, so it is cracking. Fucking A. Well, that took a little bit doing, and the old pickle gun over here. It's off now. Forgot to press record, but trust me. Always weird to hear fuel injection sounds come from a Sportster. Nice when you hit the start button, though. Really neat that the Sportster, especially the Sportster 48 here, Shayleesi can ride it. It's maybe just the tiniest bit of a stretch for her, and then I get on it, and it fits me perfectly. Now, I'm a big boy, and I think any Sportster's a big boy Sportster, because I'll ride any of them. I'm 5'12 and a half, 300 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, baby. All American. And I've never felt uncomfortable on a Sportster, but I think specifically the Sportster 48 with the big front and rear tires, it just just kind of looks chunky. So for all you guys out there who are over the deuce mark, who are worried about looking like a bear on a tricycle or a monkey fucking a football on a Sportster, worry no more, especially on a Sportster 48. You'll be fine. Also got a long history with the Sportster 48, man, especially on this channel. The Sportster 48 was my second introduction to Harley Davidsons, with my first, of course, being the eponymous FXR, but the Sportster 48 being my second because my good buddy Flipna, he had a Sportster 48 long before he ever made videos. And of course, if you're an old school fan of the channel, you'll remember Flipna. He doesn't make it. He'll make a video on Instagram every once in a while. And yeah, people go back and forth on making videos. Don't hold it against them. It doesn't mean they're dead. It doesn't mean I don't like them. It just means that Flip ain't into making videos right now. He's allowed to not make YouTube videos. Trust me, he still rides both his Triumph and his Sportster 48 that's been turned into a hybrid of a 48 and a 72. Anyway, follow him on Instagram if you want. He'll still release a video there every once in a while. Golly, dude. That's crazy how much harder a fuel-injected 1200 Sportster rips than the carbureted versions do. Dude, hell yeah. I like that. This is gonna make somebody an awesome motorcycle. The Sportster 48s weren't always my style, although I can appreciate them. It's probably not something I'd have for myself, because that Flipna loved his, and they do look cool, just not what I would pick, but I know there's a lot of people watching right now who would love to have this motorcycle. If you also remember, one of Flipna's logos was that little thing right there. So let's stop and put some Go Juice in this thing. You can put bigger tanks on these bikes. They make a King Sportster tank if you want to, but this little peanut tank does look really freaking cool. Well, I guess that's always the trade-off, isn't it? Is convenience versus cool. 1.4 gallons. I think it holds 2, so low fuel light comes on at about a half a gallon. It is just a blast from the past riding this thing around. I used to ride around Flip's bike every once in a while. It's cool riding a 48 again, man. Just like old times. This thing scoots just fine. But let's go ahead and scoot back to the fort, because I'll tell you something right now. There's one thing that this Harley Davidson is missing, at least if you ask me, and that's a pretty girl on the back. Speaking of pretty girls, well, look who's back on the ranch, baby. One Chloe Cox, and let me tell you what, I got a seat just for you. Hop on the back of this Sportster right here, and wait, that looks kind of weird. No, yeah, go ahead and hop on. Yeah, wait, no, that's my seat. You have to move back one. Oh. Uh-oh. I don't think that this has a back seat. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Yeah, I didn't notice that this didn't have, I was just gonna make you sit on the luggage rack back there, but it doesn't even have any pegs. Came out all this way for a ride, and I'm all of a sudden making you sit on a luggage rack. I promise this though, whoever does win this bike, because you gotta be able to have a back seat, if you want, I will send it to who, holy mackerel, dude! She's a witch! She's a witch! I'll balance on it. Whoever does win this bike, I promise I'll send it with a rear seat. Although Chloe seems very confident that she doesn't need one. Of course, you put me on the bike too. That's a little too much pork for just one fork, baby. Well, I promise Miss Chloe Cox a ride on a Harley Davidson. And the FXR will have to do. It's been a lot of different motorcycles at this point, but it's still kind of a Harley. What can we say, boys? The ladies love the FXR, and well, it's loud enough between the exhaust and all the rattles that if they don't love it, I'm not gonna be able to hear it. We will get a back seat for that Sportster. I mean, unless you really just want the solo seat. That was actually always Flipna's thing back in the day. One of the reasons that he loved the 48 was that he didn't want a passenger. Motorcycle riding was something that he did by himself, alone, and he just wanted it to be a completely solo experience, and he never put a passenger seat on that bike. So maybe you're a lone wolf, baby, maybe you're on a solo mission, and let me tell you what, old Chloe Cox back there knows a thing or two about solo missions. And if you are, that's okay. Hey, maybe we'll just send you the 2-up seat anyway, just in case you change your mind. Yeah, they call it the Hitachi Glide, baby. All right, we gotta hurry up and scoot back to the fort because Cammy Bay is supposed to be coming over. I'm supposed to be working on her Range Rover today, or at least guiding her while she works on it. And if she's already there, it might be lights out for your boy Shade Tree. I might come home late, but I always come home. I don't see the Range Rover. I think I'm in the clear. Got away with it again. Oh, well, I did make it back, and even though Cammie did beat me here, I don't think I'm in trouble.
I got all the things.
Yet. She did get all the things.
I was gonna try, but then like if it got fucked up, then I would have to come and steal your truck while you go to Portland.
Well, here's the thing. I used to be an auto mechanic in another life. I know exactly what to do in this situation.
Exactly?
Yes, exactly what to do. Don't worry, I got this.
Today we're going to be working on a 2016 Land Rover LR4.
Yeah, like I said, I was a mechanic. Well, I don't know if it's everybody's fantasy to be stuck underneath a car with Cammie Bay.
Hi.
Come on in.
I just need you to show me how to do it one time, and then the next time I can do it all myself.
Well, I might still mess it up, don't worry. Let's get this done. Actually, I gotta turn the camera off. This is a kind of close quarters. We're not filming that kind of video right now. Well, it ain't no stab and grab, but it'll have to do. Maybe we'll do that. We'll fill up the giveaway 48 with a couple gallons of stab and grab special, just to make sure you take it home with a little bit of the wang in it. This gas station is actually in my outro, though. This is where I give nothing at random the finger. Make sure you give nothing at random a few well wishes, man. He's in a pretty horrific motorcycle accident. I always hate to hear about it happening, especially to somebody I really, really care about. If you've been to the camp out, you will probably know nothing at random. He's definitely a fixture there. Here on Stearns Road, heading to the whole reason why we're giving away this bike in the first place. Well, one of the reasons anyway. Now the camp out's coming up. Last weekend in October, I want all you weirdos down here to party with us. But again, the whole reason we're doing this isn't for the party, you know. It's not for that at all. It's for Forgotten Angels. So Forgotten Angels is off of Stearns Road, so when you're coming down this, keep your hog cranking to a minimum, okay? We want to keep our neighbors happy so we can keep on throwing this party. Anywhere else, knock yourself out. Let the hogs fly. Let freedom ring. Crank to your heart's delight so it's out of your system when you get around Forgotten Angels neighbors. Here you go. You make a right on Little Stearns Road and at the dead end, 15 miles an hour on this road, please, but at the dead end, you'll know you're here when you see the sign. Welcome home. I can't wait to see this place full of weirdos, man. Pretty amazing stuff. It feels good. I've talked about this before, but when I was a younger man, I could never imagine being able to change the world. And by myself, I still don't think I could change the world. But all of us together and a few generous people out there and a few motorcycles up for raffle and Dave and Cindy at the lead, we can change the world. Got a couple upgrades out here, that's for sure. Not the least of which is the Yingling Room. The Yingling Room is a really special place, man. A really special place for anybody who's come to the campouts. But even outside of that, I can't tell you how many, well, I probably could because I know how long I've been coming to Forgotten Angels, but I've had many Thanksgivings and Christmases inside the Yingling Room, along with young men who've been on the property, some of whom are still here, some of whom who have moved on to do bigger and better things. We've had so many Christmases, birthdays, Thanksgivings in the Yingling Room that were these young men's very first Thanksgiving with a family that really cared about them and really loved them. Their very first Christmas where they actually got gifts and had somebody who cared about them and cooked for them. Their first birthdays that they got to celebrate surrounded by people who actually give a damn about them. There's a lot of memories in this little building right here. A lot. And a lot of you guys who've been to the camp out have a lot of memories in this building too. Well, let me tell you, it's definitely gotten an upgrade thanks to some amazing donations by some amazing people. Forgotten Angels had an amazing company come out and run new electricity to this. They did that all. Their time and their resources were donated to Forgotten Angels to make sure that this is on a separate breaker now. So no more flipping breakers when you're trying to make coffee in here. We also had another amazing company who donated 2 mini split air conditioners. So yes, as of now, the Yingling Room has air conditioning. And trust me, I'm looking forward to a lot more birthdays, a lot more Thanksgivings. I guess Christmas and Thanksgiving, we don't have to run the ACs. We can open the windows, but not all the birthdays are in Florida's winter months, okay? Just looking forward to a lot of more amazing times in here. Young people who have never had a chance to experience what it's like to sit down and have themselves celebrated by a family that cares about them, or have a celebration of Christmas or Thanksgiving or any of that stuff where they get to sit down among people who genuinely care about them. And that's what the Yingling Room is. And the fact that it has AC now is just a bonus. For all you guys coming here, now you get to eat in air conditioning. Now, if you don't drink beer, there's gonna be plenty plenty of food to eat and drinks to have all weekend that are also completely included. But if you do drink beer, you're gonna be able to have your fill right here. Usually we got my man Whiskey Chaser behind the bar back there pouring drinks all weekend, along with Parker the Coyote and a few other cool people who volunteer their time to be bartenders. And yes, they do accept tips, but all the tips go directly back to Forgotten Angels. We don't really hold any spots for camping. I know this area back here usually goes pretty fast. The people who know where they want their campsites to be, they're usually here early on Thursday to make sure they get their spot. We're still working on it, so I don't know if it's going to be ready or not, but we have our floating cigar lounge on the lake, which is, you know, just a bunch of plywoods and some 55-gallon plastic drums underneath it. But you call it a floating cigar lounge, it sounds really fancy. Well, we're not very fancy around here. Everything that they do around here is with donated materials and whatever we can get from the scrapyard, because it is a charity, so we don't spend charity dollars on doing stuff like making a high-speed, amazing floating cigar lounge. What you get is some plywood, maybe a fire pit if we can figure out how to make it work without sinking the entire thing, and some 55-gallon drums. But it's the love and the companionship and the camaraderie that really count, right? That'll make anything good. So I don't know if this is going to be ready for the camp out, but we're gonna try to make it happen. Speaking of young man, I see Ethan walking over there. He's got a pretty cool story, though. He's camera shy, so I try not to shove the camera in his face. Ethan got his motorcycle endorsement, and he's like a really quiet kid, really reserved, definitely an introvert. But the minute David put him on a motorcycle, that kid came alive. We ended up taking him to Cycle Gear, got him completely outfitted with gear and all this stuff. Good thing too, because he actually got himself into a motorcycle accident. Wasn't his fault, but unfortunately his motorcycle was totaled. Luckily, it was insured. He was being a good boy, unlike me. Since it was insured, he was able to get himself a newer FJR, and he's absolutely in love with that thing. Amazing the journey that he's been on to go from having nothing and being homeless and having no hope to having his dream motorcycle in a couple years. That's the kind of thing that a young man's parents, a young man's father, that's a journey he should have taken him on. And instead, all these people just absolutely abused him, mistreated him, and then made him homeless with no hope, no chances, no high school diploma, no money, basically a one-way ticket to being a drug addict. And at Forgotten Angels, well, he might still be a little bit of an introvert, but ain't nothing wrong with that, baby. You can come to the camp out and be an introvert. You don't have to talk to anybody. You can just sit down and enjoy the companionship. You guys might remember this little CB125 up here too. That's the motorcycle that Arab Honey learned how to ride a motorcycle on. Arab Honey and many others. That motorcycle put in work as far as teaching people how to ride. Unfortunately, seized piston has turned it into decoration. For now, at least. We're definitely going to pull that thing down from decoration duty and put it back into service here soon. But for the camp out, at least, you can go experience a little bit of history, because there's a lot of people who come here who they learned how to ride a motorcycle for the very first time on that bike sitting up there. You guys remember the teal deal over here, right? Well, Curtis out of Washington won that. That's about as far away from the wang as you can get. Curtis actually chose to fly down though. Curtis is flying into the camp out. A lot of you guys heard his story on the live stream. It's not for me to share, but I'm glad that he's coming down to the camp out, and he's gonna attempt to ride it back to Washington. I don't see why it won't make it, but that's what I say about everything. And now back to the Sportster 48. So we're pulling a ticket for this one Thursday, which by the time you see this video will be tomorrow. So you've got about 24 hours left to grab a ticket for this motorcycle right here. And since we're pulling it before the Forgotten Angels camp out, if you choose to fly down and come to the camp out and have a Sportster 48 to ride around the wang all weekend, free food, free beer. But if you buy a ticket and Karma points her finger at you, hey, you can come down and party with us all weekend and have a bike to ride. You don't even have to ride it home. I'm not gonna force somebody to ride the Sportster home, because if you don't want to, I get it. But if you choose to, that's also pretty cool. But wait, there's more. You guys might recognize this motorcycle. This is a 2005 Goldwing that David Tyler from Forgotten Angels recently took on a cross-country journey. He went back home to Canada to visit his family and some of his elderly family members. That might be the last time he sees them. It's not a sad journey though, it's a triumphant journey, because David also came from nothing. This Goldwing was supposed to be David's replacement for giving away his Ultra Limited. If you remember David's Harley, which he donated to Forgotten Angels, not the first bike he's donated, but he gave that bike up to the raffle to raise money for Forgotten Angels. And now that we're doing Kira Adderley's House for Women, right now we are at 80%. We're at 80% of what we need to completely secure the house. And if I'm being honest with you, that's why we're doing a drawing on Thursday, because we're hoping to make up that last 20% between now and Friday when that's due. I believe in it though, and so does David, and that's why David has taken his replacement for his Ultra Limited, which was this 2005 Goldwing right here, and he's donating that to the raffle as well. So yeah. I just, anymore, I don't know how David can even grow attached to a bike. He keeps starting to give them away so fast. So 24 hours from now, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, when we pull a winner for this raffle, the first winner, every single ticket bought, even if it's not pulled, is still entered all the way to the end for every single bike we're giving away. But that first ticket, you're gonna get the choice between that Sportster 48 back there or this Goldwing right here. A better choice than the 48, but they'll both make it. This Goldwing is going to be completely serviced and ready to go for whoever decides to take it home. We'll try to get you a seat that's not cloth. Some people like them. I'm not a fan of them, so we'll probably be replacing that, and we'll also be putting a new windshield on it because that one's kind of smeared up and a little, anyway, it's seen better days. But yeah, David Tyler once again coming in clutch and saying, hey, I'm gonna donate my own personal motorcycle. It's one of the reasons that David makes such an incredible mentor for all these young men that come through the program, and why he's also been an incredible mentor for me. Because David, when it comes to raising funds to do good things, when it comes to changing the world, when it comes to making sacrifices, when it comes to making personal sacrifices to do good things and make the world a better place, David Tyler leads by example. Pretty disparate choices here, but that kind of goes with the whole theme, doesn't it? I like bike and I like Sportsters just as much as I like Goldwings. If I had to choose myself, probably be the Goldwing, even though the Sportster 48 is much newer and has way less miles on it. But again, miles don't really matter that much on a Goldwing anyway. They're gonna go for over 100,000 miles if you change the oil. And sometimes even if you don't. Either way, 24 hours from now, someone is going to get to make a choice between these two motorcycles. Well, not just these two motorcycles, there is another.
So as all of you know, Forgotten Angels got an opportunity of a lifetime to purchase another property to support some of the youth that have either aged out of foster care, at risk, or homeless. This isn't just any old home, it's a 3,700 square foot property with 7 acres that will allow us to not only provide housing for 9 young ladies who have aged out of foster care, at risk, or homeless, but for their children as well. It's a huge problem. Most people are unaware of how many single moms there are that are homeless. This property will not only fulfill that need, but we'll also be able to put other tiny homes on the property because there's an extra 7 acres that will allow us to do that. And so we're super grateful for all the support that we received. We're so close. We're so close to having all the revenue that we need to put the deposit on that will give us the 2 years to come up with the remaining amount. And so I just want to thank you guys for the support you've given, but we desperately need your help for this last push.
I think everyone knows how much this house means to me and to Forgotten Angels and to Kira Adderley, unfortunately, who lost her life a few years back due to the fact that we didn't have housing for young girls. And I guess it will always be on my heart that I felt like if we'd had it, there's a possibility we could have saved her. And the importance that I put on this house is more than just being able to help all the other girls, which that is important, but it's so that Kira's memory can, live on through this house. I know that she'll be smiling down on us, and Tiger, who used to be her baby, will be over there terrorizing all the young girls also. We just cannot express how much we appreciate all of the love and support that you guys continue to show Forgotten Angels and show all of our kids, because as we all know, all these kids are our future, and they're going to be the ones that are pushing us in the wheelchair someday, so we better take care of them now.
If you'd like to continue to support Forgotten Angels and our mission to be able to purchase this house, this Honda Goldwing, which I literally just drove around the United States and Canada, 13,754 amazing miles, flawless. So it's got a few more miles, but it's got a few more miles left in it also. So please purchase one of the tickets and support our mission to be able to purchase the Adderley House for girls at Forgotten Angels. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Steamy. Definitely starts with a lack of drama, we'll call it. Holy mackerel, though. Certainly a lot of drama when it accelerates, though. These GL 1800s never fails to surprise the hell out of me when I get on one and twist the throttle wide open. These bikes are legitimately fast. And fast we need to be. We're actually leaving today for Portland. But of course, before we leave for Portland, we got to do one last thing in Tampa, which is terrorize the USPS with your Brapstar orders. I went back on my word. I said Monday at noon was the cutoff time, and I wasn't going to print any more orders after that, but today's Tuesday, and I printed out orders that came in late last night. It just seemed like rude not to do it, so you guys squeaked in. Maybe one day I'll treat myself to one of these new 1800s. It's just hard to justify it when my 1500 still runs so well. I guess it doesn't run good, but technically there's nothing wrong with, well, I guess there is a lot wrong with it, but I don't know. It still fires up every time I press the button. I have no need to replace it. But this bike right here is going to make someone an awesome motorcycle. David, once again, taking his personal motorcycle. He doesn't even, I don't even think David has a motorcycle now. He gave away his Harley, he gave away his Blackbird, and now he's giving away his Goldwing. Like, he literally doesn't have a motorcycle right now. That's crazy. Knowing David, that won't last for long. When it comes to leading by example, let me tell you, David really does exemplify that. Something I always tell you guys, just because David has chosen to give up his motorcycle for the third time, donate it to the charity and let it go in order to achieve something bigger, in order to help Keira Adderley's House for Women happen. If you don't have a lot, like if you're on the wire already, do not make a donation just because you feel like this urgency and this need to, because I talked about this. I don't want anybody putting themselves in a bad place because they, like, I sat here and I talked about what David did and they're like, I have to do something. If all you got left is 25 bucks, don't spend $25 on a raffle ticket. If all you have left is $100, don't buy a raffle ticket. Because let me tell you what, man, if all you got in your checking account is $100 till next payday, this is not what you need to be spending your money on, I promise you. We are bad people doing good things. This money is changing lives, it's saving lives, it's doing absolutely doing good in this world. But I'll tell you, it always just freaks me out thinking about the possibility that somebody overextended themselves or stretched themselves too thin to grab a raffle ticket to help out somebody who they're seen as having less than them, but is actually on kind of the same level as they are, or maybe they're just one step above. So please don't overextend yourself, don't hurt yourself, don't spend your last 25 bucks to grab a raffle ticket. If that's the situation you're in, you need charity, you don't need to be giving charity. And I don't mean that in an insulting way at all. Godspeed, you black emperors. When I was younger, I used to not like the way these Goldwings look, but man, they have grown on me. I really think that the GL 1800 is a good-looking bike. Funny how your mind changes on things over time, isn't it? These things came out in the year 2000, way back when. But a young hedge wizard of 18 years old, and I thought Honda had made a terrible mistake. I just hated the way they looked. 24 years later, I love it. Now, just because I say the GL 1500 is a butt-ugly bike, doesn't mean I don't love it. We stand for an ugly bike around here. Like I always say, ugly guys do it better, because they have to. And of course, there is another. Now, compared to some of the other offerings that you can pick from, maybe the XR150 doesn't seem like it'd get that much attention. But I promise you, it's capable of doing almost the exact same thing that the Goldwing does, just in a slightly different way and at a very much lower speed. Heck, even more than the Goldwing can do, because this thing ain't too bad off-road if you got someone who weighs a little less than me on it, though it will still do it with 300 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal riding it off-road into the bush. While David personally rode that Goldwing across the country through Canada and back, I rode this XR150L across America into Canada and back. I promise you, it'll do it. Now on Thursday, we're gonna go ahead and give you guys the choice between any of these bikes. We started out with just the Sportster 48, but I wanted to make it a little more exciting. We are trying to push through that last 20%. We're 80% of the way there for what we need to do to completely secure this house. That's the first step to creating Kira Adderley's House for Women that David and Cindy are going to help young women who've aged out of the foster care system, young teenage mothers who are at risk, a place where we can continue to try to break the cycle of abuse in the foster care system. So we're going to let you pick from all 3 of those bikes, including the Steadfast XR150L if you so choose, and if you so choose, it can also come with a big tank of gasoline on the back. This video is coming out on Wednesday the 11th. That means you've got about 24 hours left to grab a ticket. That link's down below. We'll be pulling the winner on a live stream September 12th, 9 p.m. Eastern, so you might only have a few hours left to grab a ticket. And right now, I've only got a couple hours left to grab a plane. See y'all on the other side of the country. Well, we made it back here in the PNW with the struggle bus. Of course, we got big stuff happening with Sessions out here, but we're also looking forward to seeing a lot of our friends out here in the PNW. I haven't put together any plans for a ride yet, but we definitely will be doing that, so make sure you're on our Instagram at Shade Tree Surgeon on Instagram, or if you're in the Discord, we'll definitely be talking about what our plans in there. Before we do any of that, we got big plans with Sessions out here. We got a lot of new stuff coming out, a lot of work to do, and of course, Sessions is helping Forgotten Angels with everything they do as well. As for the bikes, we will be live streaming in the Sessions podcast room tomorrow night. We'll start around 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be pulling the ticket at 9 p.m. Eastern. I have to say Eastern because I'm still not used to Pacific time. So you do the math because I didn't graduate high school. But with all you guys' help, we'll get a lot more high school diplomas for all the young men and young women out there who are going through Forgotten Angels so they don't end up like me. Click that link down below, grab a ticket, and we'll see y'all in the live stream. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.